Hello everyone, I am Mr. Dread who has always been telling you stories. Are you ready for today's story? Let's start right now. This story happened a long time ago. The protagonist is a Chinese, let's call him Noah. As for his background, I won't go into detail. He studied abroad here and successfully found a job at the airport after graduation. To this day, he is still working in this field, but has switched from civil aviation to the private aircraft industry. Of course, today's story is not directly related to his career, so we'll just mention it briefly. When he first came here, Noah was single and lived in a shared house with a few friends. Not long after, he met a female colleague in the company. The two got to know each other, gradually came together and became a couple. After I got a girlfriend, we got along fine at first. But because Noah shares a house with his friends, some of his private space in life is restricted. I believe everyone understands that feeling of being cramped. So after discussing it, the two decided to move out. The house hunting process went unexpectedly smoothly, and they soon found a relatively satisfactory residence. Although the house is not big, it has a good location, the surrounding environment is quiet and clean, and the rent was reasonable at the time. Just like that, the two prepared to officially move into their new home. Noah recalled that they encountered a small incident on the day they moved into the house. On the day of moving, they hired a professional moving company. Although the two of them didn't have much luggage, there were still quite a few large items like beds, cabinets, and desks. In order not to trouble their friend, they decided to spend some money and let professionals handle it. The employees of the moving company were typical islanders, tall and strong, and they worked efficiently. It wasn't long before all the furniture from the original residence was loaded onto the truck. Then they came to their new home together. After arriving at the new residence, Noah first led the movers into the house and pointed out where the bed, cabinets, desks, etc. should be placed. After the workers had a general understanding of the situation, they returned to their vehicles and began moving these large items. Noah was busy moving some daily necessities, such as pots and pans, suitcases, tableware, etc. He stayed alone in the kitchen to organize things. It should be noted that Mira did not show up when we moved that day, because she happened to have work arrangements and couldn't get away. So, the entire moving process involved only Noah and a few movers. Not long after, the two movers walked into the kitchen and informed Noah that the moving was complete. They said the furniture was in place and the bed was made, and asked Noah if he had any other plans, and if not, they were ready to leave. At this moment, one of the employees suddenly laughed and joked, "Is your girlfriend here too?" Noah was stunned by these sudden words, and he subconsciously looked outside the kitchen. But the door was as quiet as usual and my girlfriend's car was not parked there. An inexplicable sense of doubt came over him, because he had never mentioned that he had a girlfriend, and these movers had no idea about his current relationship status. Why would he suddenly say something like, "My girlfriend is here?" He looked back at the worker who was talking and couldn't help asking, "How do you know I have a girlfriend? Is she here? I didn't see her car." At first, Noah thought it was just a casual remark by the other party, or just a habit of foreigners to joke. But the following answer completely broke his psychological defenses. The worker replied seriously, "I just saw a girl in your room, and I thought she was your girlfriend. Otherwise, what was she doing in the bedroom?" Hearing this, Noah felt his scalp tingling and his back chilled. He asked doubtfully, "You mean, there's someone in the bedroom now? The other person nodded and pointed to another worker. Yes, we both saw it. She was in the bathroom of the master bedroom, and your bedroom door was open, so we saw it clearly. We said hello to her, the worker continued, but she ignored us. Maybe she didn't understand English, so we didn't bother her anymore and left on our own. When Noah heard this, he was completely panicked. Today is their first day moving in, and his girlfriend is clearly at work and hasn't come home at all. How could there be someone else in that room? His first reaction was not that it was supernatural, but that he was worried that a child from a nearby neighborhood might have run in during the chaos. Could someone have sneaked in to steal something? He muttered to himself. Feeling uneasy, he immediately rushed to the master bedroom. The two workers realized that something was unusual and quickly followed him. The three of them walked into the master bedroom together. But as soon as they stepped into the room, they found it quiet. Apart from the three of them, there was no one else. At this time, not only Noah felt something was wrong, the two workers were also obviously panicked. The three of them searched the entire house again, but could not find the girl they saw. When people face phenomena that they cannot explain, they often try to use logic to cover up their inner fears. Noah was no exception. He tried to calm himself down and tried to convince himself with reasonable explanations. He thought for a moment and said casually, "Did you see it wrongly? There is a big mirror in my bathroom. Could it be that you saw your reflection in the mirror and thought it was a girl?" Perhaps in order to end this disturbing topic as quickly as possible, the two workers nodded in agreement with his explanation. Yes, maybe we saw it wrong, sorry. Thus, the moving process was officially completed. But on that first night in the house, the really weird things began. When faced with inexplicable phenomena, people often subconsciously look for a reasonable explanation to calm their inner panic. Noah was no exception. Although he was already feeling uneasy, he kept telling himself that maybe someone just broke in during the chaos, or maybe the two workers really made a mistake. He even said to them, "I happen to have a big mirror in my bathroom. Could it be that you saw your own reflection and mistook it for a girl?" Although the explanation he gave was far-fetched, it was better than nothing. After hearing this, the two movers also agreed. "Maybe we saw it wrong. I'm so sorry." Thus, this strange episode was lightly brushed aside. After the furniture was properly placed and the belongings were basically sorted out, Noah and Mira officially moved into the new house. However, Noah did not tell Mira about the strange thing that happened during the day. He did not want to make her worry, and he did not want to affect their peaceful life after moving because of something that was not yet confirmed. However, in the following days, the real abnormalities began to emerge quietly. At first, it was Noah's girlfriend who kept waking up in the middle of the night. In her sleep, she would suddenly scream and wake Noah up. After waking up, she often sat by the bed, her face full of fear, and even cried. Noah comforted her and asked her what she dreamed about, but she could never explain it clearly, as if the dream was covered by a thick fog that completely dissipated when she woke up. At first, neither of them paid much attention to it. Who hasn't had a few nightmares? Maybe it was just a change of environment, or too much pressure at work during the day, which led to emotional tension and strange dreams. But the situation does not end there. Myra's nightmares are getting more and more frequent. It started out as once every few days, then became once a day, and later even being woken up several times in one night. she gradually became afraid to fall asleep. Even when she was lying in bed, she would often stare at the ceiling all night, exhausted but unable to close her eyes. The worst thing was that she could never remember these dreams clearly. No pictures, no details, only fear and gasps. Prolonged shock and sleep deprivation caused her mental condition to deteriorate rapidly. When she was at work during the day, her eyes were empty and her mood was low, as if all her strength had been drained away. When Noah told us this, his tone was relatively calm, but he still couldn't get over what happened that night. It was early in the morning. Noah suddenly woke up from his dream, and his first reaction was to turn his head to see if Mira was sleeping soundly. But the bed next to me was empty. He sat up suddenly and called her name repeatedly, but the room was strangely quiet and no one responded. He quickly reached out to turn on the light, trying to find out where she had gone. But strangely, the whole house was out of power. There was no thunder or rain outside, and the neighbors' lights were still on, but their house was the only one in dead silence. Without time to think, he got up in the dark and searched the bedroom and bathroom, but still couldn't find anyone. Just as he was walking towards the living room anxiously, the scene before him froze him on the spot. Noah saw his girlfriend, sitting alone in the living room in her pajamas, staring at the TV. The TV was still on, but the screen was filled with snowy noise, just like the noisy images with no signal in the old days, emitting a strange blue-white light in the night. He stood a little further away and called her name, but no matter how he shouted, the other party remained motionless, as if he couldn't hear him at all. She was like a wax figure frozen in time, with empty eyes, allowing the flash of the TV to shine on her face without any reaction. Noah's heart was pounding so hard it threatened to burst through his chest. He finally couldn't help but rushed over and shook her shoulders hard, his voice changing tone. "What's wrong with you? Wake up." Mira was extremely confused when she was awakened. She stared at him blankly and asked in a low voice, "Why am I sitting here?" This scene made Noah completely determined. Some people may ask, why live in such a house? The correct answer is to move out immediately. In fact, Noah and his girlfriend had the same plan at the time. They felt that the house must be unclean. But when it comes to moving, you can't just move right away. The reality of life is there. Finding a new house, signing a contract, packing, and moving, each of which takes time and energy. They had made up their minds, but had not yet taken any action, until another bizarre incident occurred, pushing everything to the critical point. It was an ordinary night. At that time, there were no instant messaging apps like WeChat and FaceTime. Noah and Noah's mother relied on early long-distance calling cards. Later, as the internet gradually developed, they switched to MSN. This name may be unfamiliar to young people. Simply put, it is an old-fashioned software that allows video chatting, which was very popular at the time for contacting family members in China. That night, Noah and Mira sat in front of the computer and video chatted with Noah's mother using MSN. At first, everything was normal, chatting about recent life, work, and some strange things that happened in this house. Noah also talked about Myra's nightmare during the day, but his tone was still light and teasing. But just as they were talking excitedly, the picture suddenly started to freeze. The images in the video seemed to be stretched in slow motion, the sound was intermittent, and the picture seemed to be suppressed by some force, lagging and unstable. After a while, the computer completely froze, and even pressing the power button had no response. Noah finally had to press and hold the main power button to force the entire computer to shut down. This is not a big deal. Network lag is a common occurrence. But as soon as he restarted the computer and connected online again, Noah's mother's face changed. Her expression became much more serious, and her voice was not as relaxed as before. She looked at them for a long time in front of the camera, her tone steady but slightly suppressed. "Have you been under too much pressure from work recently? I see that you two don't look very well, and you all look very tired." Noah was stunned for a moment, and before he could answer, she added, "This house you live in, although it looks nice, I always feel that it is too damp and gloomy. The coldness in the house doesn't seem to be caused by the weather, but more like," she paused, "more like where you live. Something's not right." Noah's mother then said in the video, "You have kept my credit card, haven't you? I will transfer the money to it now, and you can go out tonight and choose the best hotel in your area without worrying about the cost. Stay for a few nights, change your mood, and then see whether you still want to dream or not." Noah was puzzled after hearing this. He thought, Noah's mother usually reminds him to be frugal, but why did she suddenly become a different person today? Not only did she not care about the expenses, but she also offered to stay in a luxury hotel. He hesitated for a moment, then politely replied, "No need, Mom. We're looking for a house. We'll move in when we find a suitable one. There's no need to live in such an expensive place now. It's such a waste." But as soon as he finished speaking, Noah's mother on the other end of the video suddenly became stern, almost raising her voice and commanding, "Now, pack up your belongings, take my credit card, and go to the hotel. Don't stay in that room tonight. You can come back and get anything you need during the day, but you must find a new house and move out as soon as possible. Do you hear me? Don't worry about the money. From tonight on, no one can sleep in this house anymore." Noah was stunned. He had never heard Noah's mother speak to him in this tone before. It was an unquestionable command, as if she already knew something behind his back, but just didn't want to say it in front of the camera. He asked cautiously, "Mom, why? Did you find something?" Noah's mother just said solemnly, "I can't tell you now, but you have to listen to me. I will buy a plane ticket tomorrow and come to help you move in person, and also check on you too." She said it with absolute certainty, without any hesitation. Noah was completely shocked by these words. He felt mixed emotions. On the one hand, he felt that the situation seemed really serious, and on the other hand, he felt an unprecedented helplessness and tension. But since Noah's mother said she would fly over in person, Noah didn't dare to be stubborn anymore. After all, since he was a child, he has been full of awe and trust for Noah's mother. What she said was never groundless. What's more, she will cover all the expenses this time, so Noah might as well take it as a change of environment to relax. He agreed, but still didn't know why Noah's mother was so determined. After the video was hung up, Noah and Mira simply packed up some necessary items and drove away from the creepy residence. That night, they checked into the best local hotel. What surprised them was that this night was the most sound sleep they had had in nearly a month. There are no nightmares, no screams, and no inexplicable black lights or snowy screens. Mira slept very deeply. When she woke up, She was full of energy and her face regained its long-lost rosy color. In the morning, the two ordered a hearty breakfast and chatted while eating. For the first time, there was no lingering fatigue in each other's eyes. All this seems to suggest that the problem is not with them, but with that house. At first, Noah thought that Noah's mother was just worried about their psychological pressure and wanted to let them change their environment in this way. But unexpectedly, the next morning, Noah's mother really called and said that she had booked a flight and would fly over that day. She repeatedly reminded them, "Don't go back to that house at night. Also, find an agent to rent a new house as soon as possible. I will move with you after I arrive." Noah's mother's decisive and urgent attitude made Noah feel that there seemed to be some unknown truth hidden behind it. Maybe you are curious, what does Noah's mother do? Noah and we didn't say much about her. We only knew that she was a very successful businessman in China, had seen many ups and downs over the past few decades, had a strong and decisive personality, and was very capable in handling matters. What is even more impressive is that she has met some so-called elite people during her many years of business career. These people may not belong to mainstream society and do not like to show up in public, but it is said that they can often provide her with great help at critical moments, whether it is a turning point in her career or some more difficult to explain secret matters. Noah once said, "Noah's mother believes in those things, and we can't say much, but she has never suffered any loss herself." Back to the story. On the third day, she really flew over as promised. Noah and Mira went to the airport to pick her up. When we first met, she said two things. The first sentence is, "Don't send me to that house of yours. Just book a hotel." The second sentence is, "You must find me a new house today. I am here to supervise you to move out. Don't save me money." Her tone was still firm, as if she was not Noah's mother who came to visit her son, but more like a commander carrying out a special mission. Naturally, Noah and Mira did not dare to disobey her. After all, her schedule was tight, her attitude was firm, and she had indeed contributed money and effort. While they were settling Noah's mother in the same hotel, they were also working quickly to find an agent. Because there was no budget limit, I finally chose a new house with good conditions but a higher price and signed the contract on the same day. That afternoon, the two returned to the original problem house, started packing, and contacted the moving company again. Large items such as beds, cabinets, and televisions were carried by workers, while the remaining small items and personal belongings were packed by Noah and Mira themselves. They split up and after filling a car, drove to the new home to place the items, and then returned to move the items for the second and third time. Everything was going well until they began to find that the items that had clearly been moved away had returned to their original locations by themselves. At first, the two just thought that they remembered it wrongly. There were too many things and they were messy, so maybe they were overlooked in some corner. But their doubts turned to horror when they found something special. It was a big stuffed bear, a companion item that Noah's girlfriend particularly liked. The bear was the first thing they put into the car with their own hands during the first move. After arriving at the new home, it is also the first item to be placed at the head of the bed in the new bedroom. But when they returned to the old house to continue moving, they were shocked to see that the big bear was placed neatly in its original bedroom, as if it had never left. Mira also thought at first that she might have remembered it wrong, but after several times, they began to discover that the big bear seemed to be possessed. No matter how they moved or how many times they moved, it would always reappear in its original position when they returned to the old house. And it wasn't just the big bear. Many small objects also experienced similar problems. Books, alarm clocks, water cups, clothes hangers, as if they were secretly sent back by some invisible force. It's not an omission, it's not forgetfulness, it's a complete backtracking. Noah and Mira became increasingly aware that there seemed to be some kind of will in this house that was desperately trying to prevent them from leaving. Seeing more and more items automatically return to their original places, Noah knew very well in his mind. This was not a coincidence, nor was it because they were careless and forgot to move them. There is something inside that is preventing them from leaving this place in some incomprehensible way. They tried many methods, repeatedly moving, packing, sealing boxes, and even rotating the order, but they were unable to break the strange cycle. In desperation, Noah called Noah's mother and told her everything truthfully. On the other end of the phone, Noah's mother did not show much emotion. She just said calmly, "Come over now and pick me up. Don't worry about the rest." Noah quickly drove to the hotel to pick up Noah's mother. Before getting in the car, he noticed Noah's mother took out a small red bag from the suitcase. The bag was square and tightly tied with a dark gold cloth rope. He couldn't help but ask, "Mom, what is this in your hand? In this situation, is there anything useful you can bring?" He tried to smile to ease the atmosphere, but his tone could not hide his confusion and anxiety. But Noah's mother just replied calmly, "You do what you should do, and I do mine. Don't ask, and don't care." Noah said that at that moment, he suddenly realized that Noah's mother, who was usually restrained in her words and decisive in her work, now had the temperament of a man of the world, calm, determined, as if she had already made up her mind. He didn't ask any more questions, but silently took her to the old house. After entering the room, he took her to the master bedroom and whispered, "Mom, this is the room we live in. You see, there are still many things we tried to move out, but they always come back by themselves." Noah's mother didn't say anything, but just opened the red bag silently. She took out a few old copper coins. Noah stood aside and couldn't see clearly, but he could feel that these things were obviously not ordinary objects. He wanted to go forward to see more clearly, but Noah's mother raised her hand to stop him. "Don't touch it, and don't look at it." She placed the copper coins one by one in the four corners of the bedroom. She put one at every right angle. The movements were clean and neat, like completing an extremely skilled ritual. Then she moved a chair and sat quietly in the middle of the bedroom. Noah was stunned when he saw this scene. He had never seen Noah's mother do such a thing, and he didn't understand what she was doing. Will this really work? He was full of doubts in his heart, but he didn't say them out loud. At this time, Noah's mother slowly spoke. "Go move the things now. Take everything away at once. After you put them away, come back to pick me up. I can't go with you this time, I have to stay." When Noah heard this, he panicked. "You stay here alone? No way. Do you know how creepy this house is? I was scared myself, and now I can't let Noah's mother stay here." Noah's mother, however, remained firm. "I will do what I should do, and you do yours. Don't worry, I'm alone. I'll be fine. You guys go quickly, don't waste time." Faced with Noah's mother's strong willpower once again, Noah and Mira had no choice but to do as she asked. They quickly packed the remaining items, loaded them into the truck, and transported them to their new home. Although Noah was still uneasy, he still followed Noah's mother's instructions. After the move was completed, he immediately rushed back to the old house just to confirm Noah's mother's safety. When he pushed open the door and walked into the master bedroom, the scene he saw was something he would never forget. Noah pushed the door open and saw Noah's mother still sitting in the middle of the master bedroom. She looked calm and her eyes were peaceful, as if she was waiting in silence for some signal of end. The copper coins in the four corners of the room lay quietly, and there seemed to be an indescribable clearness in the air, as if some kind of oppression had quietly dissipated. Noah noticed at first glance that those items that had never been moved and always returned to their original places before this time were finally all quietly staying at the door, waiting to be moved away. There were no more strange recurrences, no backtracking. It was as if some power imprisoned in this house was finally dispelled or suppressed by Noah's mother's silent watch and mysterious means. Because of this, the couple was able to move out completely. Life in the new home went on as usual. The girlfriend's nightmare never occurred again, and their mental states gradually improved. From that day on, the uneasiness belonging to that house seemed to have never existed. At this point in the story, some people may think, what is hidden in that house? What kind of magic weapon is the red bag in Noah's mother's hand? Do those ancient copper coins really have some kind of magical power? No one can give accurate answers to these questions. No one, including Noah himself, has ever really figured out whether Noah's mother is using faith or some kind of rules. However, this is not the most chilling part of this story. The most puzzling thing is why Noah's mother immediately made the decision to move out after the video call. What exactly did she see? Many years later, during a chance conversation, Noah finally mentioned the strange incident of that year to Noah's mother again. This time, Noah's mother finally told him what she saw in the video that day. First, she said the video call went fine, but suddenly, the screen on Noah's side fell dark, as if there was a sudden power outage. The entire scene became gloomy, including Noah and Myra's faces, which fell into a strange darkness. After a brief black screen for a few seconds, the picture returns to normal. But not long after, the video started to freeze violently. Frames skipped, delays. It was as if the picture was struggling. And in this ghostly scene, she suddenly saw two faces, gradually stiffening, and then revealing a weird, lifeless smile. The most terrifying thing was that bright red blood was slowly flowing from their foreheads. The smile gradually widened, the corners of the mouth gradually split, and even extended to the sides to the ears. She was desperately shouting Noah and Myra's names in front of the screen, but got no response. Then, the picture was completely cut off. It was at that moment that Noah pressed the power button on his computer. When we reconnected later, everything seemed to be back to normal. But she remained alert until she saw a woman with long hair standing behind Noah's bedroom in the video. Half of the woman's face was swallowed by darkness, but the other half was covered with the same extremely weird smile as before. At that moment, she made the decision without hesitation. Her son must not live in that room again tonight. That's all for Ghost in the Rent. A seemingly ordinary moving process involves a creepy, invisible obstructor. Perhaps there really are areas of the world that we cannot explain, hidden behind the lives we take for granted. I am Mr. Dread, a friend who will accompany you into the night with stories. If you like today's story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Or, if you have experienced something similar, please leave a message in the comments section to share. See you in the next story.